Na 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 na. Babe, don't you want an intro? You want this to be the intro?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Ricky Johnson Jr. And
I'm Jasmine. Who is
I
that?
think I just embarrassed her.
Clearly. Hi, we're back with another video.
We out in
We
Vegas.
We are actually in Vegas. If you haven't got a chance yet, we did a little intro video talking a little bit about like how we are. I think a little bit how we met, a little in the first one.
Yeah.
And I also did like a little bridal vlog situation. So if you haven't got a chance yet, go check those out. Today we're just gonna do a little Q&A.
We went on social media and asked everyone to send us some questions. So we have about 6 questions that we're going to talk about. And the first one is, hello there. As a single Christian woman who's in her 20s, has never been in a relationship, and is seeking Christ, what advice would you give to me and single Christian women out there who is waiting on God's best for her?
So that's I feel like a really, really big question. The first thing that I would say, and that was really important for my own walk, was having a close and personal relationship with Christ for myself. So it was really important to me before I started trying to connect with anybody else to make sure that I was on the right page. And a big part of that is because I had every intention to be celibate, and I wanted to be with someone who was also celibate. So if I'm not on point myself, there's a really good chance I could knock them off their walk, and I didn't want to do that or put anybody in that position where I was their Delilah. You know what I mean? Essentially. Another thing that I would say is really important, and that I kind of learned the hard way, is that not every man in church is a Christian man or a man of God. So it's really important to look at like their character, who they are as a person, even outside of just like their attendance at church. Notice how they behave, how they treat others, like how they treat you, of course, and their one-on-one connection with Christ, because at some point that's going to become your leader. Okay, let's say you'll tell yourself, I want someone who's really committed to Christ, someone who has a personal walk, someone who is like charitable or generous, somebody who tithes, all those type of things. Say that you say you want all of those things, right? And then in front of you is something that is completely different, but you still will date that person or entertain them or whatever you want to say. So it's like, you don't do that when you go to the grocery store where you say, oh, I'm about to go get some oranges. And then you go in there and all of a sudden you buy, an apple here and a kiwi there and a banana there. And you went in there and you're settling for or taking things that you didn't even say that you wanted. That's not what you had your heart set on. That's not what your mind was set on. That's not what you needed. And so you're accepting other things just because. So that was one of the analogies that we had talked about.
Yeah.
If you say you want an apple, wait for an apple. Get an apple.
And I always like to say, like, stop wasting your time like to fill a void. Like, you know in your heart. Like all my friends, like they literally would know. They'd be like, I don't even know why I'm talking to him. I can't see myself with him. This, that, and the third. And I'm like, so why are you even entertaining? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you spending time with this person you know you're not supposed to be with? God could be sending the person that you're supposed to be during that time. You know what I'm saying?
Miss
like
your whole blessing.
Yeah, you literally miss it. But like I always say, if it's for you, God will bring them back around. But it's gonna take a little longer because you was already distracted with another person. You know what I mean? The person that God has for you is still gonna come. I don't want you to not think he's gonna come, but you have to be in your walk. You got to be in your word. You got to be a woman of God, and you just got to be ready. And it's okay with being single. There's nothing wrong with being single.
100%.
Like Jesus was single. Who was Paul? One of them. Someone else. Like you okay with being single. Like everyone's calling isn't to be married. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. And that's a gift. Biblically, like that's a gift. That when you're in that space, and I know that y'all notice that too, when you're in a single season, you have more time, space, opportunity, whatever, to really zone in on your walk with Christ. There's a different type of intimacy that you have. Not to say that you can't do that with a partner, but you just have more alone time to yourself to where you really can just have like the most intimate relationship. So it's not some type of curse. Like, that's a blessing. That type of closeness that you feel with God is amazing and unmatched.
Like I always tell Jazz, and she felt the same way. When I was single, I was so happy being single. Like, I felt like I don't need you. Like, you know, not to say it like that, but like I was so perfectly fine with being happy. Like, whether I was in a relationship or not, I knew that I was gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to. I hear people say it's like, I need you in my life. Like, you don't need them in your life. Only person you need is Jesus and God. That's the only person you need in your life. You don't need another human being in your life. So I wish people would stop saying that. You don't need them. Like, you want them.
Yeah.
And you want what's best for them and everything.
And
like,
that's where we're at, is that Ricky and I were both, like he said, that we were both happy in our single journeys. I have extremely close relationships with my friends and family, so I never felt like any deficits or anything like that, and especially because I had a very close relationship with God. And that's where we're at, is it's not a codependency. We want each other. You know what I mean? Like, more than anything. So it doesn't have to be a need to be like a love. Yeah. In my opinion, it doesn't have to be I need you. I need him to fulfill my purpose, maybe in the way that God has designed me to, or if I'm having babies or a family or something like that, maybe I need that in God's plan. But in terms of like our mental health or whatever, we will not die.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
Air quotes. The godly man, end quote. What does that look like to you?
Wow. So, in my opinion, like, kind of just before how I was saying, like, paying attention to their walk and their dedication to God. And Ricky knows, like, even if I see him getting distracted or whatever, I'll check him too and hold him accountable. It really is about like the fruit that you're bearing. So you know how they talk about like the fruits of the Spirit? That's always my quickest way to find, even for myself, if I'm on point and if I'm connected with the Father. Like, if I have that joy, if I have that peace, if I am being self-sacrificing, all of those things. And so when I can see that in a partner, that lets me know, especially if they're somebody that's connected to God, that lets me know that, oh, that's not even something from you. Like, that's something that the Lord has given you. And it's really funny. I don't know if you remember this. When we first started dating, sometimes I will say to Ricky, like, wow, thank you for being the man that you are. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for whatever. And he'll always be like, don't thank me, thank God. Do you remember that?
Because it ain't me. It definitely ain't me. Whatever you see like some good stuff, like, that ain't me, that's God.
Like. To Christ, yeah. So I would say that's one of the big things, is like, look at that fruit. What do you think is a godly man?
I like to keep it simple. A godly man, to me, I think is just a man that, you know, keeps God first. You know, that's the cliche answer. But also is following God's authority. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to God first before everything. Sometimes I may not know things, or we may have a discussion or argument or whatever, and I would try to, you know, Google or look up scriptures that has to deal with whatever we're dealing with, and that's kind of how I get my advice or how I'm supposed to handle a situation. Is I just go to the Bible first and try to see if the answer in there. You'll be surprised. It's a lot of, you know, different advice in the Bible.
I remember one of the first times that we even like actually had like an argument and we were upset with each other, or Ricky was upset. The next time that I saw him, I don't know if I went over to his house or whatever, or wherever we were, but either I walked in the door or I walked in the house, and his house, and he was there with his Bible, sitting there reading his little Bible with his attitude or whatever. So I'm like, all right, that's a good sign. You don't get mad and go to something else. Just go to the word. Yeah, go calm down.
Yeah, cause
let Jesus deal with you. Yeah.
Because you know, sometimes you get mad at someone and you go and talk to, you know, another human, and they might not give you the best advice.
Yeah.
You know, because you know they might not be in their walk. Like, your friend's not gonna always be, you know, the best spiritual guidance that you can get. You know, like, even though we are all Christians, we all are different in all different parts of our walk. Sometimes they may not give you the best advice, and sometimes they may, you know, but
nobody can guide you like Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Next question, number 3. How long have you guys been together before getting engaged? Answer the question.
Right,
How it be?
How long have we been together? Almost 2 years. It hasn't even been 2 years.
It ain't even been 2 years yet. It's almost 2 years.
But to be honest, anybody who knows us or who knows me, like their response is not like already. It's like finally, because this kid, after like only a few months of dating, was like already talking about marriage and stuff like that. So
I ain't come to play.
It's not.
I knew what I wanted before I got into it, and I probably said something like, what are your intentions in the next, like, if your intention ain't to be married in the next few years, like, I'm not wasting my time, it's over with.
Wait,
I don't need you. Like I said, I don't need you.
Let me break it down for y'all. This is really how Ricky came to me, because we're talking and dating and stuff like that. He starts talking about marriage, and I'm gonna keep it solid with y'all. Before Ricky, I was a skeptic for marriage, and I knew that it was something that was of God, and I was gonna have to get on the same page with that at some point if that's what God had for my life. But if y'all think about, like, as a practical person, I'd be like, what is the likelihood that you are going to like the same person for the rest of your life? I'm gonna evolve, you're gonna evolve, whatever. What's the likelihood that, you know what I mean, that that's gonna work forever, bruh? I don't know. I was a skeptic. So when he said that and when he started talking about marriage, I was like, I don't really know. I'm kind of on the fence with, I don't know. We'll see. And he was like, oh no, I'm not doing a we'll see. I don't do situationships. I don't date without a purpose. Like, I'm not just dating just for the hell of it. He was like, if that's where you're at and you're not looking for marriage or you're not looking for whatever, let me know right now, and that'll kind of be my cue.
Yeah, like, I didn't.
So that was I was like, I'm on board.
I didn't, and like,
I'm on board. Yeah, let's be clear
and
about
like,
what
fellas,
you want.
and
I like
that.
that.
I didn't put it in a way where it's like, I want you to marry me right now. Like, put all this pressure. I'm like, what is it that you want in your near future? Like, what do you want? Like, do you see yourself being married? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And then I will, respond accordingly.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to be said about a man that makes it clear of their intentions, not only for their life and their future, but with you. But it's like, oh, okay, I know that this man is serious about getting to know me on that type of level, which is a good thing. Yeah. And it works.
Next question. Where did you guys meet each other? I think we answered this before. Church.
COP.
Sinner Praise. Sacramento.
Can we do the story? Y'all want the story? I don't know if we already said this. He actually, probably it's in some of the interviews or something if you've watched it. He DM'd me. I did see him at COP. I said hi to him. In his eyes, that his thinking that I don't know, but
yeah, if a girl come up to you and just start
saying hi, bro. Like, anyway.
If a girl comes saying hi, she looking at you in the side eye, like she watching you.
Whatever.
She was watching the boy.
Anyway.
The boy, she was watching. She was watching.
No. Anyway, and then he DM'd me not too much later and offered to help me grade papers, and as a teacher, you don't say no to that. So he helped me grade. That was pretty cool. I learned he has an upbeat personality, and it's funny because I was his takeaway with me, she has a pretty upbeat personality, and I like that. I like that he's more almost energetic and fun, and he opened. Shut up! And he opened the doors for me and opened my car door and stuff like that. So I was like, oh wow, it's yeah, I can see myself dating a dude like that. And then after that, oh yeah, I don't know if we said this already in the other video. He posted on Instagram that he was gonna do a homeless outreach or something like that, and was saying, hey, if anybody wants to come with me or anything like that, then feel free to come along. There's a time I'm doing it, there's a place I'm doing it, and so of course, I was willing to go and help out, serve God's people. Yeah. When we were passing them out, we're with one other guy, his friend, and one of the people that was out there said, oh, how do you guys know each other? Are you guys husband and wife? And so then Ricky goes, we all brothers and sisters in Christ. I was like, okay.
We always brothers and sisters in Christ. Even when we get married, we still gonna be brothers and sisters in Christ.
I think that's true.
Yeah, it's true. We don't stop being brothers and sisters of Christ.
I'm marrying my brother.
Of Christ.
Incest.
How many kids you guys want?
Okay.
I want a Jackson 5. I'm just playing. I want I know I want a boy and I want a girl.
I ain't doing
Because
nobody's 5.
I grew up like my mom. Like I have 2 sisters, but I grew up my mom's only child. What are you doing?
Go on.
I grew up my mom's only child, so I pretty much grew up the only child. You know what I'm saying? So I want my kids to not be the only child. I want at least a boy and a girl.
Same. So I'm actually an only child as well, and that was like out the window for sure. I knew I didn't want only one kid, because that just sucked. Being an only child sucks. But I have this thing where I'm really into adoption. I'm a teacher. I have a really, really, really big heart for kids, even kids that are not biologically mine. And so it was important to me. Over here flexing, cut out. It was important to me that at some point in my life I could adopt a child, because the way that I think of it, again, in a very practical sense, say I want a kid, say there's already a surplus of kids, why don't I just take one of those? Like, if there are so many kids out there who need and want good, loving homes, and I want to be a good, loving parent, like, it just makes sense to me for me to adopt. So he wants to bear his own seed, so I'm gonna pop out 1 or 2 for him, and then
5.
I will never in my life, y'all. I would pop out 1 or 2 for him, and then the last child that we have will be adopted. That was our compromise.
And doggies.
And a pup or 2. I want a little one, and he wants a big one.
I want a cane Corso.
We're gonna have a full household.
Yeah.
Pray for us.
Last question. What does an argument between y'all look like?
And that's how we handle that.
Softy. Don't let her front for y'all on this little YouTube thing. She is softy. Argument? We don't really argue like big arguments.
We don't feel like that. We bicker. Do you know what I mean? We bicker.
I don't know if it's bicker.
Is like no.
I just got a smart mouth. Like I'm just be talking either side of my neck, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he does. So, like, say we're talking about something so simple, like, oh, I think it's in South Sac. We live in Sacramento. I think it's in South Sacramento, and he'll be like, no, it's in this other area, and I'll be like, how are you gonna tell me? You know what I mean? That's not a real argument to me. So we'll go like back and forth or something like that. Like, if you've been around us, you've probably seen her like bicker, because I think both of us like to be right. But we're not mad at each other. We just, I don't know. As far as like real arguments and stuff like that, Ricky's really good at like being persistent until we come to like a consensus about it. I would say both of us are pretty calm. Like, we're not huge yellers. That's not something that I can tolerate. So it's not like we like yell or scream at each other. We have an attitude, definitely a tone in our voice. Definitely some irritation, but it's nothing crazy. Definitely still being respectful of each other. I think I will shut down if I feel like I'm not being heard. I'm not like a leave the room type of person. He's not a leave the room type of person at all. At least
if I leave, I come right back in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll be mad, I'll leave, and I'll be like,
yeah, we don't leave stuff. We don't leave stuff bad. That's not cool. I don't think that we'll ever. I mean, God forbid, or we haven't yet. I don't think we'd be mad at each other for like a whole day or nothing crazy like that. It'll be
that ain't gonna.
An hour.
I read it plenty of times in the Bible. I don't know the exact wording. Maybe we'll put it at the bottom, but it's like something about don't go to sleep angry with each other.
Yeah.
Hey, you ever went to sleep angry and the next day is just like your whole day just off? Like over time it just builds up. Like y'all didn't even finish the conversation. It's a whole new day. Like
and
now
it's
just lingering. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather just talk it out, get it over with. Yeah. Whether it's, one of us being like, okay, you're right, even though we may not really believe it, or we come to some kind of agreement.
I don't be looking for right or wrong. I don't ever, like, if it's a real true like disagreement or argument or something big like that, I don't be looking to be right. I just be looking to be understood. And so I think that's why else it's easy for us to like bury the hatchet on stuff too, because as long as I know that you hear where I'm coming from, or you kind of see how I could feel that way, then I'm fine.
I think our biggest argument was like the love language thing.
That has caused arguments.
Like, make sure y'all know each other's love language, because she's like this, and I absolutely do not like this at all. Like, this is not my thing. Like, she used to do it early on.
So
If that's your love language, and you like me, and like early on, I used to like.
Yeah, he will actually pull away from me.
I'd be like, what you doing? Like, why you touching me? Like, I'm not saying it like mean,
it
but
feels mad
to her, I'm like, why you touching me?
Yeah, and I like to touch a lot. Even sometimes just in conversation, I'll do something like this, and he'll, kind of pull away. Like, what's your deal? I'm like, I ain't never had no man where it's like, you like me, but you don't want me to touch you. I'm like, I don't get that. So then in my brain, it's like, he must not like me. If you don't want me to touch you, like, that's how my brain registered. Or I'm like, yeah, it was crazy. I went through a whole thing where I'm like, I can't tell that you love me because you're not touching me.
And me, mine was quality time. So like, she could be over there and I could be all the way over here, but we in the same room. It's perfectly fine with me. You ain't gotta talk to me. You ain't gotta say no words to me. As long as you are near me, we're spending quality time in my head, and that's.
And it took me a while to even get on board with that. Like, once when we first started dating, like, Ricky wanted to see each other like almost every day, and I was not used to that. I'm used to being at work. I'm gonna be at work for a good 10 or 12 hours, and that's it. That's my day. If it's a weekend or something like that, I'm with my family or I'm with my friends, and I'll we'll see each other too throughout the week, maybe like every other day or like 3 or something. But I wasn't used to spending like every day with someone.
If you ain't seeing me, you don't like me.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
And I was like, what is?
And active
Who
service.
has time for that? What was this question even? How did this question begin?
About arguments. No.
Oh.
I think it was about argument. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how you guys argue.
Okay.
Or what kind of argument?
Yeah, I think that's we just talk to each other.
Like, sometimes, like, don't go to other people all the time with your issues, because then now they getting all their input. They don't know the situation. They don't know the relationship. And you getting stuff from over here, I'm getting stuff over here, and we come together with everybody's ideas and how we supposed to handle it. But like, we have our own relationship. We handle things how we handle them. We go to God. We talk it out.
There are
very,
very, I would say less than a handful of times where I went outside of this or this to fix it.
It's not even fixed. It wasn't even broke.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Broke.
Just to gain perspective, I guess. But yeah, we work it out. We be G. Don't let people project their own stuff onto y'all relationship. Like, this is, I would say, probably one of the easiest things that I've ever done with my life is dating him. It's not difficult. I know people say like love is so hard, but maybe it just doesn't always have to be.
It's supposed to be hard.
People say that though. People always say love is a battlefield and da da da. But I'm like, we chilling. All right, that's it. If y'all happen to have like any other questions, maybe one day we'll do like another little Q&A or something like that. I think probably the next video will be like a vlog or something like that. So if you want to see me continue on my little mission to get this wedding right,
we got a lot of big stuff too that's been happening. Because we've been looking for catering. I think she finally picked a dress.
I did pick a dress.
A lot of big things. So make sure you guys comment below, like, and subscribe, because we got a lot of more content to upload for you guys. And
that's it.
That's it.
Bye.